1941, a state of war.
What General Vagon had called the Battle of France was over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills.
Hey guys and gals, this is Alden from the Mosin Crate. First things first, I can't answer any sales related questions here on YouTube. That includes things like how much are they, where can I buy them, how can I buy them. You guys are adults, I'm an adult. Pretty sure you guys can figure out how to Google my username, the Mosin Crate, or if you just want to go on to rumble.com and search for the Mosin Crate without any spaces between the Mosin or Crate, you'll find this same video on there where I can and do answer questions like that. I can't even disassemble guns and put them back together on YouTube. That's one of their rules now. You can't show disassembly of guns or anything. So it's getting kind of silly. Again, check us out on Rumble if you want to get the honest full review. So getting right into this, these are all Italian-made Beretta 71s. They are in 22 long rifle. We're going to be shooting some Federal hollow point 22 LR today through this. These are known to pretty much feed whatever you want to put into them. They'll take just about any 22 long rifle. Some guns are more picky. Thankfully, the Beretta is extremely well made and is not one of those. So these Beretta 71s, they're made from the 1950s all the way through right about the mid-1980s. Most of the time when these get imported, by the way, import marking is on the front strap, and it does have a heel release for the magazine, which is very common in Europe as opposed to the typical thumb release that we have up on the frame. 8-round magazine with each of these. These were made again from the 1950s through the 1980s. And these are very popular with the Israelis, especially the Mossad, the air marshals, and some of their more specialized police units there. Another nice thing about these, a lot of times when you saw them imported, they would come with those stupid long fake suppressors on them, and that was done for importation reasons due to the barrel length and I believe the weight as well. These don't have those fake suppressors welded on there, which is awesome. These are all going to be probably 1975 and post-1975 dated. So I would say none, but there are 2 in there. Most all of these are not CNR eligible yet. They're just not old enough. Again, these are made from the 1950s all the way through mid-1980s. Grading all of these as just solid, good, surplus condition. Some of them are going to grade as high as very good. Others, like this one, are probably on the lower end of good. And the threads on these, I believe, are 1/2 by 20, which is pretty much standard in Europe. I think the US thread pattern would be 1/2 by 28, if I remember correctly. I'm not guaranteeing the thread condition on these. Some of them I've noticed the threads do have damage on them. Others seem to be perfectly acceptable. It's just luck of the draw when it comes to thread condition. What most people are going to do when they get them, they're going to have them rethreaded to 1/2 by 28, or what I did, and unfortunately it hasn't arrived yet because it's the Postal Service and it's taking them forever. I ordered a thread adapter online for mine because, as you know, I had to keep one of these. This is the first time I've ever had these at the crate. And so you can get adapters online that will screw onto your 1/2 by 20 and make it a 1/2 by 28. Why you would want to do that? Well, if you're like the Israelis and you want to put a silencer or suppressor on there, something like that, Now, these again were used, a lot of these were used by Mossad, air marshals, special police units in Israel. These were actually imported out of Israel. As you can see, some of them have the lanyard rings on the bottom heel of the gun. And these haven't been imported in a long time. By the way, that's the date code there. Anytime you see my thumb pointing at those two little AE on that one, I think is what it was. It's always on the right side on the trigger guard. It's 2 letters. And you can look up online and go search Beretta date code, and you'll be able to tell the date on each pistol. These haven't been imported in any large numbers in years. You used to be able to get these things for like $300 all day long, I guess, about a decade ago. And now, on average, I'd say after you're paying shipping and everything else, I know I'm not supposed to talk about price on here, but I'm not talking about these. I'm talking about the Beretta 71s in general. Most of the time, they're 700 plus. You don't have to take my word for it. Go on Gunbroker, check the completed auctions. You can see what these things go for. It's stupid how much that they're selling for now. And it's a really nice pistol. You know, you look at them and you're like, I don't want to spend blank for a 22, but this is probably the nicest subcompact production pistol, 22 pistol you're going to find out there. They're very high quality. And they're about this a little bit bigger, I'd say, than a Walther PPK. So they are very concealable carry. In fact, one of the things I used to hear all the time, people would joke when someone said, "Oh yeah, I don't want to carry a 380. It's like carrying a 22. I don't want to conceal carry that because you can't do any damage with a 22." Like I said, these things are extremely popular with Mossad for that reason, because they're very concealable, and at close range, a 22 is more than enough to do the job in most cases. Now, I was talking about CNR earlier. This one dates from the 1960s. There are just 2 in there like that. And you can see the difference between the old school ones is instead of the thumb switch safety up and down, you've got that little push-through safety on either side there at the top of the grip. And another nice thing about them being 22 is that obviously to feed them, it's going to be a lot cheaper than just about anything else right now. And you just use a magic marker for about 30 seconds, let it dry, and then wipe the excess off with a paper towel. And while it doesn't remove the markings, the import markings, it does fill in the engravings and kind of makes them more or less hard to see unless you're looking for them. Looks a lot better that way, I think. These are really cool pistols. First time I've ever had these at the Mosin crate. You know, we haven't seen a lot of Israeli imports lately. It's been pretty dry. If you've noticed on the site, I really haven't had much listed in a long time. But these came in, very cool to see them, especially this many, more than, usually only 2 or 3 get imported at a time. So there's 50, 60 here. There's quite a few here. These have a really cool history to them, not these specific pistols. I mean, these may have taken part in these events, but the Beretta 71 has a really unique history that's tied to Israel, especially when it comes to Mossad and special force type operations, things like that. So take 1972, the Sabena Flight 571, for instance. 4 terrorists took over a airliner that was heading to Israel. When they landed, the Israelis snuck out and let all the air out of the tires and said, "Oh yeah, we'll fill you up and let you take off and everything with the hostages, but we need to come fix your landing gear. You've got something wrong with your landing gear." And so the Israelis, and Benjamin Netanyahu, believe it or not, was part of that group. And this may take a minute or two, guys. My storytelling can drag on a bit. Anyways, this group of Israelis come up pretending that they're flight mechanics and that they're going to fix the thing and fix the airliner. And the terrorists say, "Okay, well, show us. Open up your coveralls, your overalls, and make sure you don't have any weapons on them." They're looking for Uzis, AKs, big guns. They're not looking for tiny little guns. So sure enough, they open up their overalls and nothing's there. Well, they had these Beretta 71s on them. And they ended up taking back the flight. They killed, I think, 2 or 3 of the terrorists and subdued the 3rd one using the Beretta 71s. I don't believe anyone died on the Israeli side, which is really amazing when you consider they were battling people on a plane, an enclosed plane, with AKs and hand grenades with a tiny little 22 like the Beretta 71. Benjamin Netanyahu, I think he actually was injured, but obviously he did survive because he's in the news every day now. Another cool event that happened with these is after, and I shouldn't say cool, it's pretty morbid, but after the Munich Olympics massacre in 1972, so same year, Mossad sent out a bunch of agents to basically track down and kill anyone responsible or associated with it. And I think 4 of the baddies ended up being taken out with the Beretta 71. So the same type of pistol with obviously suppressed. But it's a pretty cool pistol. I mean, it's very concealable. 22 is very available. It's not really like a military round or anything like that. So it's very easy to get no matter where you go. So I can understand the whole love with this pistol that the Israelis have. But anyway, so that's it for story time, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to click subscribe. I'll have more cool videos here in the future.